Welcome back to another episode of J2 Hyundai Garage. We're about to have some fun. Hey, thanks for joining us here on J2 Hyundai Garage. Can I be real with you for a moment? I think we're forgetting about our power steering fluid reservoir. Just saying. Today's video obviously is going to be about servicing our power steering fluid reservoir on the 200 series. Now this goes for any car out there. You've got a power steering fluid reservoir somewhere, you need to change out the fluid. There's a way to do it, and it just takes time, and eventually you'll get there. So let's jump straight into it. Things you're going to need. It doesn't matter how or what you've got. I'm just showing you what I did, but feel free. You don't need to do it exactly like I'm doing it. You just need some sort of suction device that has a straw on it that you can put into the fluid reservoir. That's the main part that you're going to need to be concerned with. Today I'm covering building one, and feel free to think outside the box and do your own thing. You're more than welcome. It's what I do constantly. So let's cover some of the basics here that you're going to need. You're going to need a drill. You're going to need some drill bits, and that will be based on your hose size. I've got 5/16 in a roll just sitting around. So some fuel line is what I'm choosing to use. And then I went inside to the kitchen. I've already cut this straw in half, but I stole a straw from my daughter's, what are those mugs that kids have nowadays? Next, you're gonna need a mason jar. I chose to get a big one, and you're just gonna make sure that it's got a good seal for the cap. You wanna make sure that you're not gonna get in trouble for using one of these if you've stolen it out of the kitchen like I have. Next, you're gonna need a couple quarts of this. You're gonna need, I would say, an easy 3 quarts, maybe 4, depending on how dirty your system is. And you're gonna need this Dexron Merc type ATF for your power steering fluid. And then of course, something to pour that used oil into and recycle and take down. So that should do it. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take your lid and, like I said, inspect the seal. Make sure you're good to go on that. Next, your drill and your drill bit. And because I'm using 5/16, the first hole is gonna be a 1/2 inch drill bit size. And I'm gonna go ahead and drill into this right here on front of my chest, because that's safe. Once you've got that done, switch drill bits and match your drill bit to the size of straw that you've stolen somewhere. But it needs to be a good straw, rigid, in good shape, isn't gonna bend and crack, so make sure you got a good one. And for that, I've chosen a 9/32 drill bit because I do want this to fit tight, even if I have to, bend in the sides a little as I work it in down through the lid. I want this tight because this does need to have a good seal. Now keep in mind, tape, you can always throw some tape around it and help yourself out, get a good seal. Once you get that drilled, you're gonna build your vacuum system up here. And first what I'm gonna do is insert the straw in through the lid. And you'll just twist until you get this to walk in through that hole. And you might have to use another tool, a flathead screwdriver or something, but you do want to make sure that, yes, it's gonna be sharp. You might cut the straw, but once you get it started, it should be pretty easy. And you'll take this at least a 1/2 inch or so down inside that lid, because we want to make sure that we're at a safe distance above the potential oil level inside where we're going to be pulling our vacuum, because we are using our mouth on this system. So keep that in mind. If you don't want to do this, then feel free, go to the parts store and get a vac system of some sort. It could be a handheld system, maybe even think cooking, you know, something. You're gonna need something to pull a vacuum on, or at least a plunger type vac system to pull the oil out. Okay, we've got that in. So now we've got the bigger hole, and what I'll show you here is I trimmed like a pencil the top of this tube using a razor blade, and that's just to make it easier going into this sharp hole in the top of this lid. Same thing, twist back and forth, get them both in there a good 1/2 inch or so. And then for this one, this is where the other straw portion comes into effect. You're going to put this inside of the hose, and what this is going to allow is for you to get down inside of your reservoir all the way to the bottom. I mean, if you're being crazy about it and trying to pull everything out, it's not completely necessary, but I just trimmed off the bottom. That was a little rough. So basically what we're doing is we're pulling a suction, and you can tell on this end, if I cover it, I've got a pretty good suction. Now, if it's not working, then feel free to throw some tape around this straw here and get that set up so that you do have a good seal on it. I'm gonna go ahead and do so. All right, let's see here. Just to make sure we're good. It'll help structurally too. Now, you don't have to worry about all this if you go to the parts store and you get something that's meant for doing this, of course. So, whatever your flavor. Okay, let's go to Wabi Sabi. We've got him here in the garage. Now, before we do that, I'm putting this rubber straw system together. And this is gonna be just to get me away from having to get clear over into the engine bay, so I can work outside standing in front of the bumper and pull a suction while the other end is inside of our fluid reservoir. Okay, so let's go over and we've got our system put together. Let's go perform this simple yet, I think, impactful service that we're all missing out on. So what I'm looking at doing is setting this down next to the reservoir, which you can see here. Nice and easy. I'll probably have to move it over here based on how long the straw is. It could go here, here, it doesn't matter. And then we're going to take the cap off the reservoir, and we can set this aside. And then you'll take that straw end and put it down inside, and you'll see that that is actually pretty small. So that's why I had you put this together, and you can reach clear to the bottom. Yep, like I said, I don't have to put that over that way a little. So you'll work this in, you'll get it clear to the bottom, right? You'll get that clear to the bottom, and then what you're gonna do with your suction hose is you're gonna pull a vacuum. And what you're gonna see is down here, this is gonna change colors because obviously I'm pulling the ATF out of the reservoir over and down in to our holding cell in the mason jar here. So here we go. And I'm not sucking this into my lungs. I'm just pulling a suction, putting my tongue over the end essentially, and keeping that suction and then just adding to it and closing it off. I think that's the bad part about this, is some people might try to pull a suction and you'll get some of the vapors from your power steering fluid reservoir, and you don't really want that, right? So regardless, this is how I do it, but I feel safe doing this. So to each their own. I'm just telling you, you need to change the fluid in your reservoir. This is a way to do it, but there's 100 other ways, I'm sure of it. So once you've pulled all your fluid out of the reservoir, you're gonna pull all your components out here. Set this stuff to the side. Your Dexmerc type ATF. And we're gonna fill up this reservoir to the cold max line. And we're doing that because my vehicle is cold. I haven't started it, but a couple, maybe 30 seconds to a minute to pull it in here in the garage. So nothing's warmed up, and I'm in the middle of winter. So we're gonna pour this, topping it off, bringing it up to that max, that cold max level. And you can see how red that is. I mean, even in the top. So what you're gonna do is from here, put the cap back on and seal this up, because now we're getting into the vehicle. And once we're in the vehicle, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start it up, and we're gonna go ahead and rotate the steering wheel to full lock all the way to the left. Then we're gonna rotate the steering wheel to full lock all the way to the right. And we're gonna repeat that multiple times. And what we're doing is we're cycling this fluid in this reservoir through the pump and the system down into our steering rack, and pushing old oil mixing with the new oil we've just put in, and eventually it'll come back here and darken back up. So looking at this right now, you can see that that reservoir looks and reflects a nice reddish color. That's what you're looking for. After you've done this enough times, you will get a nice reddish color to it. It'll show that on your dipstick, and you can consider the system flushed and good to go. You've now extended your seals. The system is lubricated now. You've got great ATF oil in there. Just something real simple that I think a lot of us are missing out on. So it's something simple that we all could do. I think it's definitely a maintenance that we're all forgetting about doing. And in the end, it'll cost you at some point a new steering rack sooner than what you probably should have done or replaced, maybe a blow-in seal or something like that. So give your steering rack some sort of benefit. Go out and perform this. It's super easy to do. It won't take you a lot of time. Repeat the process over the course of a week or two, and put ATF in, pull old stuff out, put ATF in, pull old stuff out. I think you can get through it and wind up with doing a service that will save you a huge cost, because I know the steering rack in these is expensive. So take care of the system you've got. It's not gonna last forever. It doesn't matter if it's Toyota or not. Eventually, rubber seals break down, mechanical things break down. Just do yourself the service and your Land Cruiser the service, and you'll be better off for it. And you'll have that much more confidence when you're out on the trail, having done simple things like this. So stay tuned. We're gonna have more of these little help videos, and we're gonna try to capture some other things that we're not, basically as Land Cruiser owners and maybe other Toyota owners can all benefit from in doing these little types of maintenance tasks that are just overlooked and perhaps completely forgotten about or don't even know about doing, that can help you out in the long run and really save your wallet. So until next time, we'll see you out on the trail.